Hey everybody, BTO Pro here. I want to show you how hard it is to update Hacks or ELMS to use the new Hacks interface. It's a little early. Let's drink some coffee. I've got a small for me. Okay, so what we've got here is the ELMS Learning Network interface. Now, if you're not aware of what ELMS Learning Network is, don't worry, I don't talk about it a lot online because it just kind of sits there and pays the bills, and it's a very stable system. But it powers a lot of our online courses. A lot of our web component-based development goes directly into this thing. Look at this terrible theme, to be perfectly honest. Content's good, but it's just awful, poorly designed. But you can see some of our components show up there. We've got some legacy material there. But you can see, here's one of our components, right? So we've got our component here. You can see Ali Media Player, all that fun stuff. However, this wasn't intentionally designed. It never was. It's kind of a hodgepodge over several years. So I got the go-ahead on this one. Did it on another one already. Let's see how hard it is to update this to be the latest version. So I'm going to go to course settings. Got tools. So yep, we're going to use that outline. And we're going to switch the theme engine to HAXcms theme engine. And then links, this is a Drupal-based system, so it's actually just setting the front page. So I'm going to change those two values and then let go. So at first it comes back here that administration panes still look like the old design. However, now when we access our site, we get this beautiful design. So this is a web component. HAXCMS is entirely driven by web components. So what you're actually seeing here is a hybrid loading. HAXCMS is loading inside another content management system. Emoji. So the top of the interface is actually delivered by Drupal, this little thing at the top. Now it leverages web components. It uses traditional, if you're familiar with Drupal, template files that basically are rendering this out server side and then spitting it out here. And then we have some older web components, but they're still components that work. These are actually Polymer elements we made in Polymer 1 like 4 years ago that we've ported along because they have no purpose as long as they get their job done with their API, right? They have this color type of background and things. So this top of the interface is our old system. The bottom of the interface though, right? There's Clean 1, there's HAXcms Site Builder. It's doing all the heavy lifting. If I were to delete this tag, there is no content. So go back there, obviously don't want to delete the tag. So this is treating Drupal as a backend to power the front end in HAXcms. Now the reason we're able to do this is we have standards that we've written as far as standard data formats for HAXcms. If we serve those up, because HAXcms is a completely headless decoupled architecture. So anything that serves that, it's going to be able to render correctly because HAXcms doesn't care that Drupal's in the background. So now we can go through our content. You can see this is much more intentionally designed and positioned as far as just even the heading order versus text and spacing, things like that. Much more mobile friendly. We've got a nice breadcrumb trail so we can go back up the tree. I can go back. Now we've got our video player here. You can see it's also got the transcript in here, so I can jump to. I don't want to actually play too much. This is like a real movie because this is a film music course. So you can see they can actually go through and search for in the transcript, right? And I can find that word I'm looking for as we go down, right? And I can see the whole transcript of this and jump to that point in the video. Again, a web component. So this is the design that we even our older stuff is looking better. And we actually have some interesting shims in. I'm going to cover this in class because it's a weird use case. No one ever tells you in school, like, here's what vanilla JavaScript is. So it works everywhere. Here's what platform level JavaScript, or sorry, framework, library level JavaScript is, right? So in this case, and then there's vendor. Sorry, vendor is the third one I would identify. This little interaction here is actually a merging of all three with modern front-end web components. What you're seeing happen is Drupal So I'd say that's vendor-specific code, running jQuery, which is library-specific code, to run platform-specific selectors so that every time the page content changes, those Drupal behaviors, called behaviors in Drupal land, attach to content written prior to the web components era, and then it fires native DOM events to tap web components to tell it, hey, put that picture here. Here, put this picture. Now, we do need larger pictures in this, but you can start to kind of see a little bit of how old some of the media. I mean, we have some courses where like we need to go through and just put high-res photos in, because at the time that we panned through and made that material, like that was high resolution on the screen you're on. Some other features of this theme, let's wrap up, and just this approach in general. We can go dark mode, we can go sepia, I can go serif versus sans serif. We can make the font larger, but the cool thing, if I go night mode here, and then we refresh, is HAXcms is also keeping these settings, but it's keeping it across contexts. So let's go to a different course now. So this is now 2 courses that we have applied this in, and it also remembers, because the way we have the cookie set on the subdomain, it's not a cookie, sorry, it's local storage. The way we're using local storage on the same domain, it can leverage that same data. So if I switch this to sepia and then go back to music 4 is in sepia. That's pretty cool. It's a big fan of that one. So I can go back to day mode. We also have search. It's using Lunar.js. So locations. There we go. That should come up with one of the search results of the page I was just on. You can see in the search results, as we present them, we've got the title of whatever the page is. You see the breadcrumb trail, so you have some idea of where you're going to go into this, right? We might have stuff called like lesson, and that is meaningless when you just search for a pretty generic word locations. But so you can jump to, Gladiator. It'll jump me here, right? I'm in lesson 14, unit 3. I can step back up through those. We can also generate a print view of whatever we're viewing. And this is a completely scrubbed version of what you have, so that when you go to print it, it prints a lot cleaner, takes off the wrapper UI. However, the media, even if it's rendered as web components, or just, there we go. So this is a more representative example. So I can fire that up. You can see we have that content rendered there. And then if we hit print view on this, we get the things that are down the fold of the page. Now, the interesting thing, I could be wrong, but I think, so it's an interesting architectural challenge there of the file and issue. The video player uses a mutation observer to inject itself only when it's visible. Now, it does this for performance reasons, because if you have a video that's a mile down in the scroll of the page, I don't need to load that. That's not a blocking type of a thing. However, then when I go to print view mode, I will get at least some representation of the video. So we do need to work on that. But so this is part of what everybody in our group that has seen this so far. It's only a couple people, and we've piloted it with a few faculty. They're losing it over this. It's been a wild success as far as excitement around it. And oh, gee, what is that? Oh, because I've only shown about half of what the thing to wig out about is. So this is also using the brand new version of the Hax editor that Nikki has completely re-architected. It's gorgeous. Everything is spaced much more logically, a lot better text editing experience and operations in context, a lot more awareness of how and where you can place things. It also, if we take a card, so if we put an accent card down, I think this demonstrates it the best. Putting an accent card down, if I view the source of an accent card, right? I'm actually, right now, I'm in source view of a heading within the accent card. Now, if you know anything about web components and Shadow DOM, slot is a big deal as far as being able to take content that's within something and kind of reparent it and position it visually, even though in the light DOM, what you're used to seeing, it's just still in the hierarchical order. So this now, the editor is aware of where we are within this, right? So I can bump up to be working on the card, or I can be working on this individual paragraph, or it's aware of the slots internal to this. So I can bump it around between the different areas that are available in this. There it is. Subheading, content, footer. So let's move that to the footer of the card. And this is specific to the card. The card has told Hax, based on its usage of some just simple data attributes wrapping the slots, how to provide the ability to reparent and move stuff around. And this makes me incredibly excited. You can do some really sophisticated stuff with this ability. Again, still sticking to just the fact that these are native web components, or 100% design-centric components, right? It is a designed asset that we then hook up to HAX through very simple means. So to see that slot, there we go. So this is informing HAX that it can edit a slot or have it be moved around, because it says data-label is content and data layout slot name is content. And that's enough to be able to, and it has to have a wrapper over a slot tag. That's enough to inform the HAX interface now that there are slots that things can be moved around in. It's pretty awesome. So you can also move up through, up and down, through the slot areas. And we need to work on, like that disappeared, even though it's still there. It's just in a slotted area that's not visible at the moment. So I can get rid of that entirely, get rid of that paragraph. Confirm delete of that, right? And set this back to normal, and I could hit save. So we also have some interesting little bridges between where we are now and our past system. So, and this gets very vendor specific, but this interface with HAXcms on page unload to inject the destination so that when I save this form, it goes back to the same place that I was as far as the routing, even though that just took you to a Drupal backend form. So we're going to keep rolling this out. We're actually going through reviewing content to make sure that there's nothing we missed in between, because we have some much older course content in some situations, or more so as media presentation. Like content gets massaged regularly, but we might have used like Lightbox or Lightbox 2, if you recall that jQuery library forever ago. And then the wrapper system stays the same. Now, this is a huge issue in both the publishing, the open education, and just education space in general that I can't express enough. If you're outside of our sphere, to understand why this is so game-changing, just because of the sustainability aspects, right? So all of that code and those web components to you might just be, oh, I made a website, or I presented a video, or whatever it is. And to me is liberation from vendor solutions. This is HAXcms running by itself with a statically driven backend elsewhere. So now every innovative thing that we put in, all the UX work, everything that we work on for 2 years ago, my online course went directly into every online course that any faculty wants to teach at this university, or you in building your own website anywhere you want. And now all the faculty and students and everybody else working on this platform internally, they don't even know they're working on the platform necessarily. They're building and enhancing their course space. However, they are identical bricks to what everyone else is using. So when we improve the user experience for our faculty, we improve it for our students, we improve it for me teaching, improve it for everyone, because they use the same unbundled components everywhere. So when I always go to my silly memes and I make those, they are the same user experience patterns, and I can debug this no matter. Okay. So Project Ed Tech Joker starts pretty soon. Now it's syllabus writing time. Take care.